It's Thursday, August 18th, 2022. Welcome to FRCMedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. A familiar face has returned to lead Diman. The state primary is winner-take-all in the race for district attorney, and a city EMT is recognized for going above and beyond the call of duty. All this and more coming up. After a 38-year career as a teacher and former principal, Brian Bentley has returned as interim superintendent director at Diman Regional Vocational Technical High School. He replaces Dr. Elvio Ferreira, who resigned his position last month. Bentley has been hired to serve up to 1 year while the school committee searches for a permanent replacement. He says coming back to Diman has a familiar feel, although the academic and co-curricular offerings have expanded.
More sports programs have been added, more extracurricular programs have been added, but the academic curriculum has been super strengthened. AP courses have flourished, languages are now here at Diman Regional, so it's a whole nother avenue of education that is taking place. The shops are basically the shop, The machine tool technology shop is still the machine tool technology shop, but the equipment is modernized, it's technical, it's high-end, and it's that way not only in that shop, in all the shops. We're still getting the students ready for the world of work with the best equipment possible. So the building has grown in students, in faculty. I'm finding that walking the halls now, there are faculty members who remember me, and there's also a whole new group of faculty members who heard about me, but this year they are going to meet me for the first time. So that's exciting.
Bentley says he will rely on the experience of his administrative team in keeping the school running smoothly, while also imparting some institutional knowledge that may come in handy for staff. More than anything else, he's looking forward to once again working with Diman students.
When I'm in front of the students, there's a whole different energy. I always felt that I have fed that off the students' energy and just working with them and connecting with them. I still get asked the familiar questions such as, my mom remembers you or my dad remembers you. And I got one of those this morning. It was kind of funny. She says, my mom, and I said, just don't even have to go down that road. On August 31st, it's going to be the whole school population will be back with the students. Again, that energy that they bring to a new school year, bring to just their life and their enthusiasm, their energy of being in the building collectively. I will be probably a familiar face in the hallways, only because that's where I feel that I belong with them, finding out what I always call the temperature of the building, what's going on. And that's difficult to do, for me anyway, it's difficult to do from an office setting. I need to be out there.
Bentley says he will continue to support the school as it heads into groundbreaking next year on the construction of a new facility at the Stonehaven Road site. With school set to begin in less than 2 weeks, the Fall River Public Schools is working to fill vacant positions to ensure the new year gets off to a good start.
To date, we have hired 173 folks, 88 teachers, 43 paras, 12 administrators, 23 other support staff, and operational support staff, 7. And we also have had 82 resignations throughout the summer. As we know, this is a very difficult hiring season because the pool is very shallow. And we are continuing our search and continue to seek out the best people to staff our buildings as we prepare for our opening.
Time now to continue our look at some of the candidates running in the September 6th state primary. In the race for Bristol County District Attorney, the race will be decided in the Democratic primary between incumbent DA Thomas Quinn and challenger attorney Shannon McMahon. There are no Republicans running for the seat. Quinn has been district attorney since 2015, and he says his record of success in prosecuting violent crimes and protecting the community speaks for itself.
Protecting the public from dangerous and violent criminals has been a priority of mine. People have a right to feel safe in their communities, and that's what we've been doing. Very proud of Elder Initiative that I started in the beginning of my first term. Our senior citizens have done so much for our communities. They deserve to be protected. That's exactly what I've been doing. I've gone to senior centers throughout the county numerous times to spread a message of number one, I care about you, and I'm going to do everything I can to protect you through prosecution and prevention.
McMahon is the first woman to run for district attorney and has served as a former prosecutor under 2 previous administrations. She says the current office has become complacent over the last 8 years.
I've had the pleasure of speaking to so many voters here in Bristol County, and I've gotten their respect and their nomination, to be perfectly frank. But hearing about what's important to the voters in Bristol County has really been something, and it solidified my conviction that we really need to focus on safety right now, because a lot of people don't feel safe. They feel the drug crisis is out of control. There's a huge mental health crisis, especially with our juveniles right now, and there's a gun violence problem.
McMahon feels the district attorney's office should be more innovative in devising programs and specialty courts that focus on the underlying causes of nonviolent offenders.
We've got to be smarter on crime. Okay, in order to be tough on crime, you have to be smart on crime. And to do that, we need to have these specialty courts, which other jurisdictions have, such as the Recovery Court for drug addiction, for the veterans, for the men and women who have served our country, so we can give them an opportunity to rehabilitate, and a mental health court. If we get these nonviolent offenders into treatment, it's one less person who's going to reoffend, right? So we're already tackling crime right then and there. It also frees us up to go after the violent offenders and those trafficking in fentanyl, in methamphetamine, in heroin, which are killing our citizens and killing our children. But we can do this in a balanced and fair approach, where if we, like I said, if we can stop 1-2 people from committing another crime, we're being smarter on crime.
Quinn says his office works with nonviolent defendants to get them from being repeat offenders, but the focus must remain on making sure violent criminals are dealt with swiftly and taken off the streets.
You have individuals who sadly have a lifetime of committing crimes, and some of them are dangerous to the community. So you're not going to stop some of that. It's not like it's the vast majority of people, but some people, for whatever reason, cannot comply with the law. And when they're hurting women, they're committing violent acts in society, shootings, robberies of innocent people, hurting the elderly, they've got to be held accountable. And if they're habitual criminals who persist, especially in serious and violent crimes, they have to be kept off the street. That's what we have jails for. It's not a question of locking everybody up. There are many people that are appropriate to assist them with their issues. If there are substance abuse issues and they don't pose a threat to the community, we have programs in place that we support to try to assist them. But when you have individuals hurting people repeatedly, continuing to commit crimes that impact society, those people deserve to be off the street for the good of the public.
The district attorney maintains close relationships with local law enforcement in the investigation of crimes. But when a police officer faces misconduct or criminal allegations, which has been the case for members of the Fall River Police Department in recent past, how the district attorney's office handles such a matter can come under scrutiny. Quinn feels his office has maintained its integrity in investigating and prosecuting criminal police behavior.
These matters with Fall River, we're prosecuting some of the cases. We've indicted an officer in the past for misconduct, so any suggestion that these matters aren't taken seriously or dealt with properly is just not accurate. But obviously, if there is a potential conflict, we could have somebody brought in to prosecute the case. But where I've seen police misconduct that, is criminal, we've acted upon it and charged people. But it's just, I wouldn't say it's a balance, but obviously investigating the police, if it's appropriate, is something that has to be done if there's criminal activity. But overall, as I've indicated, we're working together, law enforcement, to protect the public and better serve the communities that the various departments serve.
McMahon feels the district attorney's office needs to isolate itself from investigations involving alleged police misconduct.
When I was a prosecutor in New Bedford, I worked directly with my police officers every day. I knew what their husbands and wives did for a living. I knew what their kids played for sports. There's no way you can investigate that particular police officer. You've got a conflict. Whether you can think you can overcome it or not, that's not your decision. If there's a conflict, get independent outside investigator to deal with that. And I think that protects the police from a faulty investigation, and it protects the community from feeling that there's a cover-up. So it's dual purpose, right? And that's how you protect that relationship, and that's how you keep that relationship with the police so strong, because you can have their back by saying, listen, I can't do this. I know you. You know, we work together. So let's get an independent investigator. In that way, if it comes back that you did nothing wrong, great.
Both candidates believe the district attorney's office needs to play a role in educating the community about potential instances of criminal activity and ways to guard against getting involved. McMahon says her focus will be to educate children on the dangers of using drugs.
There's fentanyl being, marijuana is being laced with fentanyl, cocaine is being laced with fentanyl, heroin is being laced with fentanyl, and fentanyl can kill you very quickly. We have to get into the schools at a young age, at a significantly younger age than we're doing, to educate these kids about the dangers of what is out in the streets right now. We're talking about teenagers who, I have some. They don't think all the time. They don't think things through all the time. And it is a dangerous, dangerous world out there. We have to get into the schools and educate them first and foremost. We also need to get a better working relationship with the community and the police department, as well as the district attorney's office. Speaking to as many voters as I have, especially here in Fall River, there's a lack of trust right now between the police, the DA's office, and the community, and that has to be healed. It really does, because if we have a community that is afraid to call the police or afraid to call the district attorney's office, we're going to see a big mess coming up pretty soon.
Quinn says he would like to build upon his experience in educating elders who may fall prey to scammers.
What I've done personally is to go out to every senior center and more other related agencies in the county to spread the message of prevention. And I've made it very simple. Obviously, unfortunately, for several years, we couldn't go there because of COVID. So this is sort of a re-engaging with people. And I've gone to a number of senior centers the last several months. I feel re-engaged by messages simple. People are trying to scam you. They're all over the place. They're up to no good. You're good people, you're vulnerable. Do not answer the phone. Do not get involved in anything that you don't know, because nothing good's going to come of it. So in a very sincere and intense way, I'm bringing that message of prevention so that they don't give $25,000 to India, to a fictitious person, or whatever the scam is, the IRS coming after them, they don't come after you on the phone.
Elsewhere on the ballot, Democratic candidate for Attorney General Shannon Liss Reardon says she wants to use her 20-plus years of experience as a lawyer supporting workers and consumers to represent all residents of the Commonwealth, something her challengers, former Boston City Councilor Andrea Campbell and attorney Quentin Palfrey, cannot claim.
The main distinguishing factor between me and the other candidates in this race is my experience. I am the only candidate in this race who is an actual practicing lawyer. I have been using the court system, our legal system, for more than 20 years to make people's lives better. I've gotten hundreds of millions of dollars back in the pockets of regular people. I've won the jury trials. I've won the appeals. I am ready on day one to lead this office. I have decades that I have led teams of lawyers and made national headlines, taken on some of the biggest, most powerful interests in the country. I am by far the most experienced and qualified candidate for this position.
Even though Massachusetts has strong protections for a woman's right to choose, Liss Reardon says the next Attorney General must ensure that the rights of all women seeking an abortion and their care providers are shielded from other states' pro-life laws enacted since the Supreme Court's decision to eliminate Roe v. Wade.
I have spent the last 20 years of my career figuring out ways around bad Supreme Court decisions. We are very fortunate here in Massachusetts to have the Roe Act passed, but there is a lot more that needs to be done to make sure that abortion is safe and accessible for everyone who needs it across Massachusetts. And we're going to be seeing some legal battles unlike anything we have seen in our lifetimes as red states try to come into Massachusetts and impose their bans here. So it's really important that we have a seasoned, experienced attorney running the Attorney General's office to take on that fight. I will fight to protect patients here, to protect providers here, and make sure that abortion is available for anyone who needs it here, as well as people who are going to come in from other states who are going to need access to it as well.
Liz Reardon says she looks forward to building upon the successes of current Attorney General Maura Healey, particularly when it comes to workers' rights and consumer protection.
We need to be there to make sure that people are getting paid properly by their employers. And right now, it takes too long. I know from my law career that it can take weeks or months or even years for wage complaints to be addressed, and people who have had their wages stolen need the money now. They need to put food on the table tonight, they need to pay the rent tomorrow. So that's why I plan to set up a fund so that people who've had their wages stolen, haven't been paid properly, can go to the AG's office, get their pay right away, and then the AG's office, we can go after those bad actor employers. That's the way our unemployment system works, it's the way our workers' comp system works. Why not wage theft? And consumer protection. If you go to my website, we have a plan up about what I will do to strengthen consumer protection rights here in Massachusetts. The AG's office needs to be accessible for people to knock on our door, come in, call in with their complaints, and we will investigate them and we'll take on the issues where we can make a difference.
Liz Reardon says she would like to expand accessibility to the Attorney General's office by opening more regional offices across the state. The closest office to Fall River is in New Bedford. She feels the Attorney General can play a role in helping the disadvantaged in cities like Fall River lead better lives.
I've prided myself through my career representing, fighting for immigrant workers who so often have been taken advantage because employers think that they're not going to speak out and complain. An important component of my goals for the office are to help tenants stay in their homes. The high price of everything is what we're hearing talked about everywhere, and housing in particular it's just out of reach for so many families. So I plan to set up an office of the tenant advocate as part of the AG's office to help people stay in their homes, to help provide representation for tenants facing eviction. Right now our housing courts often serve as eviction mills, and the landlords have representation but not the tenants. I want to make sure the tenants have good representation, that we're getting resources to them so that they can stay in their homes.
You can find out more about the candidates running in the September 6th primary by visiting our special Election 2022 page on our website at FRCMedia.org. The formal session of the Massachusetts legislature ended on July 31st with the passage of the FY 2023 state budget. Fall River State Senator and Chair of the Committee on Ways and Means, Michael Rodrigues, says the city will benefit greatly from an increase in state spending, particularly within the public schools.
The city of Fall River will receive an additional $23 million over last fiscal year in Chapter 70 dollars. Keep in mind, last year was $13 million over the previous year. So Fall River has seen a real influx of significant new monies for K through 12 education. I was also able to once again secure the public safety staffing grants. Fall River receives, that's a competitive grant, so you don't know exactly what Fall River will receive in FY23, but I was actually able to bump the bottom line so that I would say Fall River will receive somewhere north of $1 million in public safety staffing grants. Local aid, we doubled the increase that the governor proposed in unrestricted government aid. Mental health, behavioral health significantly increased the funding for school-based health centers, for social and emotional learning, for behavioral and mental health services, for substance abuse disorder services. So it was a very good year budget-wise.
Not yet complete is an economic development bill that could provide much-needed tax relief for city residents.
Over $500 million of permanent tax relief in the form of increasing the child and dependent tax credits, increasing our seniors circuit breaker tax credit, providing rental relief for renters, people that don't own homes but are renting their homes, by fixing the so-called estate tax cliff effect, which was really a glaring. Massachusetts was notably out of whack with the rest of the states in the country when it comes to estate taxes. In addition to that, an additional $500 tax refund to every citizen making between $40,000 and $100,000 per year. We've already provided $500 tax refunds for those making less than $40,000 per year, so we amped that up a little bit.
We'll be back with more FRC Media News after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. WIC Community Coordinator, Health First Family Care Center, located at 387 Quarry Street, is looking for a full-time WIC Community Coordinator to develop and maintain the community liaison with health and human service providers. Job number 174-68364. Central Pack-Out Packaging Tech. Blount Fine Foods, located at 630 Current Road, seeks a full-time central pack-out packaging tech, responsible for the accurate and efficient packaging of divisional bag retail product. Job number 174-73696. Education Coordinator, Family Service Association, located at 101 Rock Street, is seeking a full-time education coordinator, responsible for curriculum oversight, grant-funded initiatives, and staff development and scheduling within the Kids Academy program. Job number 174-73498. Home Health Physical Therapist, Accent Care Home Health, located at 275 Martine Street, is looking for a full-time home health physical therapist. For more information, call 508-235-5312. Innovative Defense Technologies, located at 10 North Main Street, Suite 2W, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Software Engineer, job number 174-69212. Information System Security Manager, job number 174-69214. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The Great Holy Ghost Feast takes place next week, and the Fall River Police Department is alerting those attending about street closures associated with the event. Beginning Thursday, August 25th, Bradford Avenue and Middle Street between South Main and Broadway will be closed to all traffic. Thursday and Friday's closures will take place from 5:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. On Saturday, it will be from 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. And on Sunday, the closure will last from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Also, residents on the following streets and addresses will be allowed to obtain special parking permits for their streets for the duration of the feast. Streets include Bradford Avenue, Middle Street, Eagle Street, Fountain Street, Mulberry Street, and Division Street. Permits will be available next Wednesday, August 24th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. near the Federal Little League baseball field. Bay Coogan last week presented Luke Farrell, an EMT with the Fall River Fire Department's EMS division, with a citation for potentially life-saving actions in late July.
Fabricated a tourniquet out of a nylon stocking and used a piece of metal from the road to act as a windlass to stem the flow of blood. Then upon the arrival of the state police, he then grabbed a cat tourniquet from the state police's cruiser and applied another tourniquet. And Lieutenant Leonardo from EMS division, I asked him to research the event, and he reached out to the director of what was it now? From the Rhode Island Hospital, the director of trauma at Rhode Island Hospital, and they said that the the performance of the tourniquets actually did save the life of the motorcyclist.
Thank you very much for this honor. It's greatly appreciated. I feel that anybody in the EMS division would have done the same thing, and I'm very humbled and extremely overwhelmed with this honor. I was never expecting it, so thank you.
It's been nearly a year since the opening of the new BMC Durfee High School, but next Wednesday at 10 a.m., the building will host an official dedication and open house.
If you remember right, last year we were still hanging doors as the kids were coming in one end of the building. It was right up against it. We got open, so we really didn't have time to do a formal dedication. And obviously, if you go by there now, the old Durfee has been completely removed. They're still working on the fields in the back. But every day it's a step closer to completion, so we can do a formal dedication now, and we can open it up to the public so people can come in and get a good look at our school. And I think they're going to be favorably impressed, and we're going to acknowledge all the people that helped us build it. I think it's important because it was a tremendous team of individuals that got this done, from the state to the federal to the local elected officials. Everybody pitched in, and now we have a bright new school, and we want to show it off a little bit.
We will wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. This is Barbie. She is a domestic medium-haired kitten. She's about 14 weeks, I believe. She is very, very sweet. Just like most kittens, they can adapt to new homes pretty fast. She's playful, loves to be with people, loves attention. She would be a couch potato in a home watching TV. She did recently get spayed, so we're trying to limit her activity right now. But if you are interested in Barbie, you can head over to Forever Paws Animal Shelter, located at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, or you could go to our website, foreverpaws.com, and fill out an application there. Or you could give us a call if you have any other questions. Our number is 508-677-9154.
Today we have Hillary. Hillary here is a 4-year-old Chihuahua Beagle mix. Though personally, I think she has a little Dachshund in her, hence this beautiful coat that she's got here. She is a bundle of energy, if you haven't been able to tell so far. She wants to go, she wants to run around. A little amplified right now because she just got spayed, so we've got her kind of at low activity level. So she's got a lot of energy to burn right now. So Hillary here, she came to us as a stray. Don't let that discourage you though. She's very nice. She should be the only dog in the home though. She gets nervous around other dogs. We would like the home to have kids who are either 12 years old or higher. Also because of just her energy level. That a much more active home would be ideal for her. If you'd like to meet Hillary, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website at frmedia.org for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday.